So I'm here in the jungle in Bali, and I'm living in this little hut. Basically, it's in the middle of Ubud, which is another place here in Bali, about an hour away from where I'm usually living in Canggu. And I said I'd take the weekend away to get some clarity, to clear my mind, get away from people, and just be in my own space, something I haven't done in quite a while. And it was something that I used to do a lot more of, because I felt like I got the biggest breakthroughs when I was by myself. Now I think it's important to have a mixture of being around the right people, being around, good friends, good company, but you learn a lot about yourself when you're alone. And I really believe that a lot of your character and your mind especially is built in those times where you're alone. So anyway, I took some time to come up here. If you were to look out the window right here, right now, you would see trees, jungle, some chickens, and a couple of little huts. And just out this window here is an art studio. So I'm basically living in an art studio. You'll see a picture behind me here as well. So I'm basically in this art studio. It's been converted into an Airbnb. I'll try to put up some B-rolls so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. There's art tables, there's hammocks, there's sewing machines, and all these really cool things. It's an interesting vibe, and it's right in the middle of the jungle. I'm not sure if you can hear the rain right now, but it's pouring down. It's rainy season here in Bali, and I'm feeling pretty cozy right here. So I wanted to record this video because as I was coming up here to get more clarity, to be alone with my thoughts, I've limited the amount of time that I spent on my phone. I was doing a lot of writing. I have sheets of paper here. I'm writing out all these different things. Anything that was coming to my mind. I was writing letters and reading these books, and just got a whole lot of stuff on my desk right now. I feel like a real artist. And I wanted to record this video because I feel like I don't share enough about some of the things that go through my mind on a consistent basis when I'm taking time to myself and when I'm thinking about life, because it's very easy to present, education and, insights and breakthroughs and processes around how to get results with your mind, your emotions, your mastery, your business, sales, all these things that we talk about on this channel to become the modern master. But I have to constantly come back to my own implementation of everything that I talk about on this channel, because I would never share anything that I don't do myself, or anything that I haven't done or experimented with. I'm not going to share that. So I have to take the time to be able to go into that gray zone sometimes, and that's sometimes the darkness of my own mind, to analyze and see what are the things that I need to work on, and what are the things that are triggering me, what are the things that are pulling me towards a new direction. And I feel like I'm really going into a new season, especially since I came back from South America a couple of weeks ago. I feel like I'm going into this new season. I feel different, I feel refreshed, but I also feel the sense of clarity that needed to be, clarity that needed to be clarified, I guess you could say. I needed to come up here to get some clarity around a number of different things: what I want, who I want to be, making sure I'm in alignment with that, business, what type of relationship I want to attract, and a lot of different things going on in my life. So I want to share some of the things that I think about when it comes to these kind of in-between moments of me creating YouTube videos or creating content and being on coaching calls, because many of you have watched some of my videos. Maybe you're new, maybe it's the first time seeing me. If it is, welcome. We're talking about some cool stuff. And many of you have seen me on coaching calls as well. In between those moments are a lot of reflection, a lot of sitting with emotions, thoughts, limiting beliefs that I get as well. I'm not perfect. I get all these things like everybody else does. It's just that I have to sit and be able to figure out a way to navigate them and feel the emotions and feel the density and go into the darkness, so that I can come back out with new insights and new information. And I will honestly say that a lot of the insights that I do share on this channel come from my own experience and reflection. Now, obviously I read things, and many people ask me what podcast should I listen to or what book should I read, and it's probably a handful that I would recommend, but most of it is my own life experience, 99% of it, I'd say. And then I add in the insights and education I learned from other people. Of course, there's amazing people out there who teach amazing things, and there's so much wisdom in books, but I always go back to like, you know, the really, really, really quality books, not like the surface level kind of, you know, stuff that you see in self-improvement and self-help. The really deep stuff, back from, you know, like books like the Kabbalion, you know, religions and things like that. When it comes to spirituality, when it comes to the mind, looking at people like Dr. John DeMartini, right? People who are like, you know, masters in human behavior and psychology. So like going to the roots of these sources, they would be the sources I would listen to. And anyway, a lot of that comes from my own personal experiences, because what I do is I have an experience or I reflect on an event or something that I went through, and I use my awareness to be able to reframe things, to be able to look at the details of it and see like, why did I show up this way, or what made me act this way, or what made me say this, and how could I reframe that? How did I feel about it? What could I feel differently about it? How can I shift my perspective? What's the lesson? And sometimes it feels really overwhelming, like, to be completely real with you, because I feel like I've been able to cultivate this strong level of awareness over the last number of years through meditation, through breath work, through just all of this reflection really, and spending a lot of time in silence. And with that comes this kind of superpower, I would say, but also like this burden at what it feels like sometimes. When I say a superpower, it's more just like, a lot of the time, and I'll be completely real with you here, I'm very aware of my own thoughts. I'm very aware of my own emotions. I'm very aware of other people's thoughts and emotions. I'm very aware of other people's energy, specifically. Like, genuinely, I can walk into a room and I can feel what people are feeling almost instantaneously. And also, before someone says anything, I can almost feel what they're going to say or how they're thinking about something. And if I add more context to that and I kind of get to know them, and maybe I know them from the past, that gets much easier. And it's interesting, but that also comes with, I could walk into a place where maybe I'm hanging out by myself, and I walk into a room or a restaurant or something like that, and I sit down and I feel like I can feel other people's energy within the area that I'm in, and it's really strange sometimes. And that comes from a heightened level of awareness. And I believe anybody has the ability to tap into those things. And, you know, I think some more than others, we all have our own gifts and talents and things like that. And I think that's one of mine. So this is what allows me to go deeper into my own experiences and look at all the intricate details, which can get very draining. You know, there's a lot of people out there who can experience something, they can see the lesson immediately, and just completely move on, let go. It's a really powerful place to be. They don't think too deeply about things, right? I'm kind of the opposite. I think quite deeply about everything. And that can serve me because it allows me to bring insights to you watching this video, programs, coaching, like it helps all of that. It helps, you know, sales, business, everything. It all feeds into it. But it can feel like a burden sometimes as well. And over the last couple of days, as I was getting clarity here in this place and going out and eating some nice food and going to spas and just like really, really like doing some self-care and writing and journaling and doing all of those things, I've been able to identify some of my own limiting beliefs and some of my own dense emotions that may still hold some grip on me that I need to work through. Like some guilt from the past, maybe things that I felt like I should have been better at, you know, like simple things like I should have said something here instead of there, or I should have been able to guide that person better here rather than there. And I would feel guilty about that because I could have said something better, or I could have said, you know, I could have done this a better way. I could have held myself to a higher standard. And I think a lot of that for me is tied to perfectionism, is kind of what I'm beginning to understand a little bit, because perfectionism is holding yourself to this arbitrary standard. And when you hold yourself to that, you hold other people to that as well. Now, that can be a benefit, but it can also lead you to have these kind of false expectations of what people can do, can be, and also yourself as well. And you can kind of attach negative emotions to those times as well, because you're kind of holding this high standard that nobody can really meet, not even yourself. And then you feel guilty when you don't hit it. And guilt is one of the lowest level emotions. So I'm being really real with you here. there's things that I got to work on as well, all the time. And working through those things, like everything I've talked about on this channel so far, is all from my own experiences and being able to share how I reframe things or how I look at things to be able to get a different result, a different outcome, to be able to see things clearly. And it's interesting. So what I find is that I'm constantly finding triggers and limitations and beliefs and thoughts that are like limiting, that I need to break through. And it becomes like almost this game that I'm playing within life itself. But what that can feel like sometimes is that I'm really disconnected from just being in life, you know? So there's some times where I'm really deep into that and I'm like I'm looking around at everything and I'm like heightening my awareness and I'm saying like, what could I learn from that? And this is how I felt here. What's that mean? What does that mean? How do I distill that back? How can I go deeper into that? How can I reframe that? What's the lesson here? Like all these different things with every single thing. But then there's other times where I don't think about any of that. And I'm trying to find that balance between those two, because both are equally valuable. Because I don't want to be just in my head trying to figure everything out all the time, because it's like you lose full presence of life. But I do believe that there's times for that. And there's times to be reflective, and there's times, and you'll be pulled in that direction when you need that. At least that's what I think with all of this. And it's the same with when you're around friends and you're having a good time and you're out of your mind and you're kind of more in your body and you're fully present, because when we're fully in our body, we're fully present. As men, we get very stuck in our minds, trying to figure everything out all the time, overthinking everything. Now, there's a difference between overthinking something and kind of doing what I'm doing here, which is you're breaking it down, distilling it and formulating it in your mind to form a new perspective and to see where the lesson is, because you're working on your self-mastery, right? I think that there's a big difference between those two, because overthinking is more just like you're thinking about something you're worried about, you have anxiety around it. Anxiety in itself is an emotion, so we got to be able to distill that back. And this is why I help people with their mind, because it's like when we can bring that back, not sure what that is, could be a gecko. When we distill that back and we understand why that's there and how we can interrupt that and intercept it and change our way of thinking, then that's how we master our mind, at least the way I see it. But overthinking a lot of the time can come from not doing the thing that you're meant to be doing, that you feel like you promised yourself that you would do. Overthinking can come from just thinking about, things that could happen in the future that just don't exist, that you're worried might happen. Tied to anxiety again. A lot of it can be tied back to just doubt, fear, anxiety, these different things. So the key, I believe, with all of this is understanding, where does the fear come from? Where does the doubt come from? Where does the anxiety come from? Because that's not our natural state of being if we're to get back to our spiritual essence. And this is the thing with all of this. Like, the more I go on this like spiritual journey, and life is just a spiritual journey. There's no like specific path and like I started my journey here and it was like, no, it was none of that. It was like your spiritual journey starts when you're born, because you don't become spiritual, you are spiritual. We all are spiritual. It's just whether we are expanding that with intention or we're just going throughout life. And the more I just use my intention to be able to navigate this even more, the more I realize that it's more spiritual than anything else. Like, there's so many times in my life where there's just these ridiculously interesting synchronicities. And a synchronicity is like, you think of something and then it just happens. Or you think of something and you're kind of navigating that, you're thinking through it, and then all of a sudden this person comes into your life and mentions that exact thing at the exact time. And I'll give you an example of this. I've been recently thinking about launching a new offer to help coaches who are in the spiritual space or in the health space or wellness space to be able to navigate business, because I'm getting people reaching out to me, I'm getting people who I'm talking to who are very spiritual at a very high frequency, but they're just not clicking with business and it's not working for them, and those people need that help. So that was something I've been just thinking about recently. I haven't put anything out there, I'm just thinking about it. And I came out of a cafe today as I was just finishing up a meal, had a smoothie, was listening to some audiobooks and just thinking, sitting there looking at the wall. And I got up to leave because it was about to rain, and I was like, I'm gonna catch you know, I'm gonna catch the gap in between the rain and come back here. And just as I was leaving, this guy stops me and goes, "Hey man, you look like you do online marketing." And I was like, do I really look like an online marketing guru? Oh no. But anyway, I was like, yeah, I'm in that space or whatever, like coaching, consulting, helping people with business and mindset and mastery and all this. And we had a conversation, and he was asking about like, getting help with his marketing because he's been working with CEOs, and he wants to work with other people, and he wants to have this, and he has all these offers and he's all these modules, but he's no idea how to market himself. And that's exactly what the offer was about. Like within a couple of hours, like I did not approach this guy. I had no idea who he was. He just literally came up to me random. A random stranger walked up to me and asked me, can I help him with his online marketing? Like a couple of hours after I put this thought out into the world, wrote it down, spent a little bit of time gathering some ideas about it. Like that's what I mean when I say a synchronicity. Like before, I would think of something and maybe a couple of weeks later, a couple of months later, that would happen. But the more I've been on this journey, the more I've like felt a deeper connection with myself and understood and got to know myself better. From that sense, the faster the synchronicities happen. Like I could put a thought out there and then I would get this immediate thing back. And it's always fascinating. Like I feel like I understand this and I get it. And this is like the creating your reality side of things, right? Like I get that. I understand it from a scientific level, from a spiritual level, and it's something I teach clients as well, because we're constantly implementing these things and we're constantly doing it, which sometimes we just don't realize. But the universe never ever fails to surprise me with these things. Like how could I have ever predicted that? So that's just one thing, and I've been noticing a lot more of these synchronicities. I'll never forget when I was doing everything I could to move out of my home in Ireland at the time, where I was really building my marketing agency at the time, signing clients, cold calling businesses, like just doing everything I possibly could. I would go out at the night, and we would live in the countryside in Ireland, where there's no buildings, there's no anything. Like you look up in the sky, all you see is the beautiful night sky, bright stars. Nothing is blocking it. Only maybe some clouds if it's a little bit cloudy, but usually it's clear. And I'll never forget looking up at the sky and literally feeling like the stars are talking to me. Like, and I know that sounds crazy, but I felt like there was something guiding me, because I had started to tap into a little bit of this and understand it a little bit more. And it was so interesting. I'll never forget standing there looking up at the stars and literally feeling like I'm being communicated to. I have no idea how to describe that. And since then, I've always just like understood that we are so much more connected than we might think we are. And that's so far past what the conscious mind as a human being can comprehend. Because if you were to say that to most people, they're just not going to get it. So the reason I mention that is because we are all so connected, and these things that we pick up in our awareness, like these triggers or emotions or anything, our thoughts and limiting beliefs and things that kind of just like float around, and we're trying to like not identify with some things, we're trying to reduce the attachment, we're trying to like reduce excess potential, we're trying to become more authentic, like all the things. It's like this, like, we have all these things around us and we're trying to pick the right things and remove the things here and add more of this. It literally feels like that sometimes, and we're so connected to everything. So when we feel this like pull of excitement in this direction, it's always important to lean in that direction, because that intuitive guidance that you get is bringing you towards your unique path, like your soul's path. And your soul's path is not the path a lot of the time that you consciously want. It's what your heart truly craves at the deepest level. So when we talk about like finding purpose, it's about finding what your soul wants, not like I want to hit this income goal because my lifestyle would be amazing and that's the way I want to go ahead and pursue this thing, because that's like a human construct of what a goal is. What your soul wants at the deepest level is something that we have to constantly try and figure out what that is. Like, that's really the way I see it, and that can take some time. So when we talk about discovering purpose, it's like discovering what your soul truly, truly wants at the deepest level. Because I was talking to a client recently, and we were talking about dating, and he's navigating relationships at the moment, as well as business and everything. We talk about a lot of that too. And he was like, you know, I'm saying this affirmation to myself, and, you know, I want to be with beautiful women, and I want to go on these dates. And he was saying the affirmations, and he was kind of like reaffirming these things to himself, but it just wasn't clicking. There was no like resonance there at all, because that's what his conscious mind wanted. I want to be with these women. I want to go have this lifestyle. You know, I want to have these opportunities. I want to have these options. That's what his conscious mind wanted, but it didn't. There was no feeling attached to it. There was no like emotion. But when he started to go deeper and ask the questions of like, what is it that I actually want? Like, do I actually want this? Deeper, deeper and deeper as he asked the questions, he was like, no, like what I really want is this type of woman who's like this, who I can feel connected with, who I can have deep conversations with, who I can feel inspired by. And all of a sudden it kind of got deeper and deeper into the heart. And he started to feel something. Now all of a sudden the words he was saying started to hold more weight, because there was an emotion attached to it. And that's just a prime example of getting to the deeper layers of what is it that I truly want? And asking those questions, because I was just doing an exercise here of asking myself, like, what is the goal? Because when we focus on the goal, we can see what that's like. We can paint the picture. And then the money comes as a supportive mechanism for that goal. When you focus on the goal is not the money. The goal is not the fucking money. The goal is what you want to create. The money is the mechanism to support that. So we don't worry about money. We focus on the goal. What is it, the life that I want to create? And then you step into that. So I know that can sometimes feel very obscure. So I'm trying to like break it down and make it more simple, but what's the goal? Like, I'll give you some examples here. Like, the first thing I wrote down was land. I come from the countryside. I'm Irish. I like green fields. And as much as I've left, you know, I've been away from Ireland, there's a part of me that misses my Irish culture and heritage, and I want to reconnect with that. And I think a big part of everything that I do online is so that I can actually have my own land and build a house there and be amongst nature, the jungle, the trees, and just feel that connection to that. I want that. So now that I have that in my mind, what does that look like? Well, I don't want to be alone in nature. I don't want to have acres and acres of land by myself. So what do I want? Well, I want a woman. And I want a woman that has these qualities. Okay. And, you know, what's the plan then? It's like, well, I want children. Right? So I want a mother who's going to nurture these kids in unconditional love. And I want her to be carefree, and I want her to feel loved, and I want her to be fulfilled and in her feminine energy. So what does that require of me? It requires me to lead. It requires me to be in my masculine energy and to heal both parts of the masculine and the feminine energy within me, to be able to be that man for her, so that she can be that. Because by me doing that, I will attract that type of woman. Okay, now it's starting to click a little bit more. Well, what else do I want? Well, I want great friends. I want to have enough land where I can bring over friends, and we can build a bonfire, and we can just do, like, we can throw logs in there, pallets, stuff like that, right? You know, like manly stuff. I want to do that, as well as like having a big house, you know? I want to fly private. Like, I don't want to deal with airports. I want to fly and go to different countries. I want to say, babe, you know, we're going to go and we're going to have dinner in Italy today. It's an 8-hour flight. We got to leave now. 6 hours in the private jet. So like, this is how I'm thinking about it, right? So like, this is the goal. And you can see how like that kind of becomes like a life. It kind of becomes like an image. I want to be playing music in some way, shape or form, and explore that. I've always wanted to do that. I used to do music production and experiment with it. I studied like multimedia in college as well, trying to figure that out. That was like before I did any business stuff. So I want to get back to that. I want to be creating. I want to be producing. I want to focus on high leverage activities. I want to have amazing client results that are getting incredible transformations. And I want to be, you know, on this journey of continuous self-discovery, because I never want to stop doing what I'm doing. So anyway, you see there that like I've been going through all of this, and it's like the clearer you get on that, it's like, well, now I just focus on creating that and take the abundant actions, right? I'm not with all this, I'm not worrying about money. Not worrying about money once. Because when we start thinking about money, we start to get attached to it. Focus on the goal. The goal then will bring the money to support it. Then you look at the day-to-day of like how you create that in terms of strategy, in terms of like what I need to do, how do I need to show up, what do I need to think, all these different like small little things that we do on a day-to-day basis to be able to create that. But we're never like stressed about money and worried about money. The biggest thing that happened for me over the last year was to flip my money mindset. I don't look at prices, I don't look at anything. I go for what I want. I go for what I want. And when I go for what I want, I say to myself consistently that I go for what I want and I don't care about what it costs. And then when you constantly build up with that, more money seems to flow. That's all I can say. And I know it sounds so like woo almost. It's like, how does that work? Well, you just focus on the goal. What do you want? And you go for that. It's what's working for me right now. I'll keep you updated with that, because this has been a breakthrough for me for sure. Because I used to just hate paying for anything. I used to get so terrified to even pay for a software. I'd be questioning it for hours. I'd be like, should I pay for this software? It's just wasted energy. It's a wasted energy, and it's just like a scarcity mindset. So anyway, the reason I'm making this video, I'm going off topic, but I just wanted to share all of this with you, because this is what's going through my mind right now. This is how I navigate these different things, and this is how I get clarity in between these videos to be able to help you to navigate this in a more structured way with the videos I create and the coaching that I do. And like, this is my desk right now. Like, I have a ton of books. Like, I have a stand right now on a ton of books. I have these notes, and I'm just getting some clarity, formulating ideas and setting myself up for this kind of new season I feel like I'm going into. So I'm excited for this. I'm excited to share this on this channel with you, and it's going to be fun. And I like being in this art studio. I feel like it brings out a creative edge, a creative energy here that, you know, it's just different. Sometimes it's so good to get away. Even, you know, I'm in a beautiful place in Bali. Like the villa that we're in is amazing. This place is not as nice as that at all, but it's just in the jungle. I thought it was cool. I was like, let's just go here. Anyway, I hope this video was interesting to you. If you want to see more content like this, let me know. Like, because this is just real, raw. I'm just really just like a train of thought. Yeah, a train of thought. A stream of consciousness. That's what I was looking for. Stream of consciousness. If you'd like to see more videos like this, let me know. And I'll chat to you soon. I'm sending you so much love. This has been Jordan. Peace.